Guys, welcome back to the channel, and today is my final refeed day, just over a week out from the photo shoot. So, refeed day today, we are going to be putting in 500 grams of carbs today, so it means we're going to be having a pretty high calorie day. I think it's going to work out, well, I know it's going to work out around about 3,000 calories because protein stays the same, fats stay the same, and the carbs are getting bumped up to 500 grams. So today is Thursday, and usually I've been keeping my refeeds for the weekends, but this week is different because obviously the photo shoot is a week on Saturday. And I'm sort of using this as a trial to see where and how I look best as well. I'm using it as a sort of, almost like a mock peak for next week. Now, I won't be peaking in the sense of like a bodybuilding peak. Like in the past, I've done like carb depletion for a few days and then like carb loading with like ridiculous amounts of carbs, you know, like 1,000 grams in one day with like 10 litres of water, and then kind of bringing it down as we get closer to the show. But I'm not bodybuilding lean, you know, I'm not as shredded as I would be if I was stepping on stage, but obviously I am still fairly lean for this photo shoot, and you know, it still requires some degree of peaking, but like just not quite as aggressive. Now, when it comes to peaking, the benefits of it are like if you've ever been really lean, right, your physique can look massively different depending on how full or how flat you are. So what does that mean? When you're flat, basically the muscle doesn't have any stored glycogen, stored carbohydrates, and it doesn't really have much water stored in it either. When you're full, you're basically bursting at the brim. You've got enough carbs in there, you've got enough water, but not too much carbs that you're like spilling over. So it's just getting that right, and it can make your physique look dramatically different. And I'm someone who I would say responds very, very well to carbs. So for me, doing some sort of peak makes a lot of sense. I've been kind of testing this out over the last couple of weeks with my refeeds, and last week I done 500 grams of carbs on my refeed day, and had about 5 litres of water as well. And after that, it was probably the best I've looked yet in terms of getting that balance of condition and fullness. But having like condition and being lean without the fullness, it's kind of pointless. It doesn't look near as good. So we have to nail it, and to nail it, I need to practice. I need to see what I'm going to do. If I was going to do my usual peaking technique, if I was like a few kilos lighter and I was ready to step on stage, I would know exactly what I was going to do because I've done it so many times before. But because I've never done like a dedicated photo shoot prep, I've always just done photo shoots when I've been prepping for like shows. You know, I kind of have to test this method, you know, this less aggressive method. So that's what we're doing. So back to refeeds, because obviously that is more so what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about refeeds and why I'm doing a refeed, and you know, the benefits of it, because refeeds are something that I've actually changed my mind on recently. Never used to do refeeds. I kind of just thought they were like a bit of an excuse for people to eat more food, and you know, over time, like obviously, you know, things change, ideas develop, you learn more, and I actually started using them with clients first. Now the reason I used them with clients was because I thought, especially people who were fairly new to dieting and they were maybe having quite an aggressive start, like for example on our Elevate program, by the way, the link in the description, check it out, but like on our Elevate program, it's intense, it's quite a harsh diet, so giving a refeed day just gives the people that are doing it a little something to look forward to. It gives them that little bit, all right, okay, I've got my refeed day this weekend. And it also means that like if they, you know, have a high calorie day, they don't panic about it. They don't see it as bad, they just see it for what it is. So like from that perspective, from an adherence perspective, yeah, having a refeed day is a really good thing. But also there are other benefits to it as well. For example, there is some research that backs up that obviously it helps with satiety as well, because when you're dieting, when you're getting lean, for example, leptin, the hormone that makes you feel full, I'm trying to remember which one's which here, the one that makes you feel full, it decreases, okay? And ghrelin, the one that makes you feel hungry, it increases. So there are meant to be some positive effects on both of them when you're deep into a diet and you're doing refeeds. It's meant to help from that perspective. But also, you have more food, you feel fuller, you've got a bit more energy, you train slightly harder. I would argue that most people, when they eat more food, they end up burning more calories anyway. So they've got their place. But they can't just be like a all out, it's not like a cheat day or anything like that. It's got to be structured, it's got to be done with the right foods, and it's got to be planned. It can't just be random or sporadic, it's got to be part of the plan. And generally speaking, like for me, I didn't start using them until I started getting quite lean. Like, because at the start, my food was fairly high anyway. I wasn't quite as aggressive as I would be with clients on Elevate, for example. So I had a bit more time than that. I've been dieting for be like 11 weeks now, so you know it wasn't quite as short in duration as Elevate, so it wasn't quite as aggressive, and therefore, like at the start, my diet wasn't as aggressive, so I didn't feel the need to use them. But I introduced them basically like 3-4 weeks ago, started reintroducing them, and or started introducing them, should I say? And yeah, like as I say, it's given me that little bit of like something to look forward to closer to the end of this prep when I'm getting hungry. It's let me see how my physique looks when I'm a bit fuller. It's given me that kind of test run for going into this sort of peak week, this mini peak week that we're doing. So yeah, I'm well on board with the refeeds now, but I wasn't always. So yeah, so I'm going to take you guys along today, show you what the refeed day looks like, show you what the 500 grams of carbs look like. I've already actually had 100 grams so far this morning, but basically you'll see I'm just using the same foods that I've been using all along. I'm just increasing the quantities of them. It isn't going to be like, you know, sweeties and ice cream and shit like that. It's not going to be anything overly exciting. It's literally just going to be more of the same foods. That's all we're going to do. So obviously I already mentioned that I'd had 100 grams of carbs so far today. And the bodybuilder in me is embarrassed to admit this, but I had the first 100 grams of carbs from like Jason's sourdough crumpets, right? So I basically just tanned 4 of them. And yeah, like as I say, like the bodybuilder in me is like, that's not bodybuilding food, it should be oats, it should be potatoes. But in reality, like, you know, is it going to make a massive difference? No, it's not. What I'm going to eat today, again, is just the foods that I've been eating most days anyway. I eat Jason's sourdough every single day. It's probably my favourite fucking carb source that I'm having at the minute. And yeah, like today is going to be like any other, just slightly bigger portions. The only things that I'm maybe adding to it are a couple of bits of maybe fruit that I've not been having recently because I literally just don't have the calories for it. But right, I'm going to pack my stuff and head off to the gym. But I want to show you guys this new bag because I think it's fucking cool. So I had one of those like tactical backpack things that like basically everyone in the fitness industry has, especially the high rockers. And no, I'm not going to go do a high rocks. Just because I buy a bag doesn't mean I'm going to do a high rocks. I'm not going to end up with a headband in next, walking about shirtless, you know. Yeah, that's not happening. But anyway, I needed a new one because the one I had, it was falling apart. I didn't buy there's like a fancy version, it's like 99 quid or whatever. I didn't pay that. I'm not going to pay that for a fucking bag. I got it off Amazon, right? I got a cheap fake. And yeah, so it was breaking. And to be fair, I'd had it for like 3 years. So like, it's not bad. It cost me like 30 quid. And I got another 30 quid one off Amazon. But this one is even better, right? Not as good as I thought it was, but we're about to see that in a minute. But it is even better, right? Because this one, if we look at it, we will see that it has a storage compartment at the bottom for food. So that is like, I'm gonna have to take this out because it's not fitting in 2 meals, which is a bit annoying. I thought it would fit in 2 meals, but it's fitting 1 in nicely, but certainly not 2, which is a bit upsetting when I need to take 2 meals with me. But like, yeah, it's just on at the bottom of the bag, and it's obviously like, I don't know what you call that stuff, but the stuff that's in like a lunchbox. Grace called it a packed lunch, and I think that was a fair comment. But yeah, it's quite cool. So I'm gonna have to take my spoon out there now because probably gonna have to eat the first meal here now before I go, which is annoying because it is 9:45. I probably would have left it at 10:30. But anyway, so we'll zip this up. If I can do it with one hand, which I seem to be having great difficulty with. And then put this a little bit on so it's nice and secure. And there we go. The backpack / lunchbox. Pretty fucking handy. So, like I say, I'm just going to eat this meal now because, I mean, I'm not that early. It's like 40 minutes early for it, but like, fuck it. Saves me carrying 2 meals around when my bag apparently only takes 1. So this meal is the famous, or currently famous, Weetabix cheesecake. I'm not going to lie, I've had a few people messaging me. I'm a bit of an influencer now. I had a few people messaging me saying they've switched to this after seeing it on my stories again because it was quite popular for a while. and then it kind of disappeared, and apparently I've brought it back. So yeah, there you go. Hashtag influencer. Fucking hell, don't let it go to my head. But basically, for those who aren't in the know, what I do with this, right, is the reason I switched to this, just to starters, for starters, is what I'm trying to say. It's because I got fed up with oats, right? I don't know, I just couldn't stomach oats anymore. I don't know what it was. Like, I've ate oats every morning for the last, I don't know how many years, since say 2013. So that's like 13 years, right? Pretty much every single morning had oats and protein, right? But I don't know, there's something about it. Even during this dieting phase, they just put me off. I'm not saying I won't ever go back to them, but right now I'm having the Weetabix cheesecake, which is basically, that bottom layer is just free Weetabix, right? I've added like 100ml of water and just crunch it up at the bottom, right? Just spread it thin across the bottom. And then we have a layer of Greek yogurt, 250 grams of Greek yogurt. And then on top of that, I've put like a thick, like kind of whey paste, right? Like with whey protein. So I'm basically getting a scoop of whey protein, adding about 150ml of water, blending it, and then just like, putting it over. Put the creatine in that as well, obviously, because, and again, this is something I should probably mention because I was speaking to someone at the gym about this other night. Like, creatine by itself, even though it's flavourless, it's got a weird texture, it's got a weird taste. Like, and to me, it seems obvious, just mix your creatine through your whey, but to this guy I was speaking to, it didn't seem obvious. So, if you're not already doing that, mix your creatine through your whey. It makes it so simple. But yeah, I've added some berries on top of that, and it's the coconut cream Perform whey. Fucking tastes unreal. Like, I done my top 5 Perform whey flavours not that long ago. I done a video on that, and if I was to go back now, I think I'd put coconut cream right up near the top. It's definitely, 1, 2 or 3. But yeah, I'd have to think about that one again. Maybe do an update on that at some point. But yeah, for now, I'm going to eat this just to give you guys a bit of context. So first meal of the day, as I say, was the crumpets, or first food of the day was the crumpets. 100 grams of carbs from that. Moving on to this meal. We've got 53 grams of carbs, so it's not a massive carb meal. I could have changed this and put more carbs into it, but I've opted to do things a bit differently. You'll see that as the day goes on. So this is just my normal breakfast, just the normal way it would be. Usually what I would have done until this point is just not ate. I would have just not ate until this point. My first meal would come about 10, half 10. And yeah, so we've got 53 grams of, that's 53 grams of protein, 55 grams of carbs and 3 grams of fat here, okay? As I say, the theme for the day is the only thing that's really changing is the amount of carbs I'm eating. Nothing else is changing. This isn't a free-for-all. It's not a cheat day. It's a structured refeed day where we have more carbs purposely that's been planned out, okay? So, after spending the morning at the gym, we are round at the office for lunch. The good thing about being here is I have an air fryer. So I've took the next meal, which is sweet potatoes and chicken sausages, which again, just my normal meal. Where I've made the most of the increases today has actually been in my 2 kind of last meals of the day, and then adding in a couple of extras like the crumpets this morning and some other stuff that we're having later today. But this meal will be 507 calories, 52 grams of protein, 64 grams of carbs, and 5 grams of fat. So again, just a pretty usual standard meal. In reality, I should have probably increased the amount of carbs in this meal. Should have had 500 grams of sweet potato, but anyway, I prepared these 3 or 4 days ago, and I didn't think that far in advance, so here we are. So we've got the air fryer in the office because why the hell not? This is just a cheap one off Amazon again, and does the job. And it means that I can actually eat my sweet potatoes and chicken sausages with a bit of heat, so it makes it slightly less grim. That'll do. It wasn't quite done, but that'll do the job. There we go. And yeah, it just makes it that little bit more enjoyable. And a can of Iron Brew gets you through, as they say as well. I tell you what, sweet potato has been one of my go-to carb sources for years. Find it hard to beat, to be honest. I don't mind white potato as well. A lot of people, when I talk about sweet potato, they're like, "Oh, do you really eat that stuff?" Prefer normal potatoes, but yeah, sweet potato, it's good. It's good, especially in a diet. It's going to help with keeping you feel full, and obviously it's got good nutrients in it as well. So it's a win-win really. Tastes good, especially when you cut them into circles. I mean, I've not got any left to show you, but I do like to chop my sweet potatoes into wee circles. I think it just, I don't know, tastes better like that. Just does. The shape matters. It changes the taste. But it's been a carb source that I've used for years, and my body's always worked really well with. So yeah, if you're not on the sweet potato train, then get on it. Surprisingly, I am actually feeling quite hungry. And this is what can happen sometimes when you run a refeed as well. It's you eat more food, you eat more carbs, and you actually end up feeling hungrier. It's like your body starts like getting a little bit of taste for it, and then it wants more. So yeah, the appetite's certainly there to take on more, but I'm going to limit it to 500. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm not just eating for the sake of it. To say this is planned out, it's meant to be a certain amount of food, so we're sticking to that. Okay, it would be easy. Right, if you've been watching me for a while, you know what's coming. This is my favourite meal out of my diet at the minute. It's the eggs and the sourdough. So let's get a look at it. Jason sourdough, of course. If you're watching this, Jason, give me a sponsorship. And egg white omelets. And also whoever makes the egg whites, I forget what the name of the brand is, sponsor me too, because I eat this shit every single day. Usually only 3 bits of the sourdough, but obviously high carb day, we can afford to have an extra bit of sourdough. We've got the 2 sauces as well, sriracha and the mustard, which is the ultimate combo, goes great on anything. Then we've got some extra carbs in the form of dates, and we have an apple as well, okay? So what I'll do with this, I'm having this meal a little bit earlier just because I've got some running around to do with Grace. So I'll have the eggs and the sourdough right now, then I'll have the fruit closer to before training, okay? So this meal is coming in at, let's start with the eggs and sourdough, coming in at 42 grams of protein, 79 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fat, 559 calories, and then we've got the apple and the date, which is 238 calories, mostly carbs, this one, 58 grams of carbs and 2 grams of protein. So we are edging up closer and closer to that 500 gram goal. So gonna eat this now and then drop Grace off where I need to drop her off, and then we are gonna go head and train with plenty of carbs in us by then, so it should be a good session. Okay, so it's the next morning after the refeed day, and I finished off last night with the final meal of the day, which was kindly made by Sophie. So we had a 5% mince burger, which she makes from scratch, so they're really nice, with a brioche bun. Oh, brioche, we're in for a treat, and some potato as well, potatoes that have just been chopped up and made into chips. So that meal came in at 548 calories, 39 grams of protein and 78 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat for those who care, which is decent. And then we finished off with, I ended up actually having 2 Rice Krispie square bars after that. I had only planned for 1, but that brought me up to 526 grams of carbs, 33 grams of fat and 209 grams of protein. Ideally, you know, come to think of it, if I were to plan that out better, I might reduce the protein a little bit more just to keep the overall calories down. But all in, I'm fairly happy with that. And I thought, you know, I had the squares bar after the burger and chips last night, and I thought to myself, you know, I could easy go for one of these. I'm not going to lie. And I was like, you know what, I'll push the boat up that tiny wee bit more, see what happens. So I woke up this morning 71.1 kilos, which is up from 70.3. So that is an increase of 0.8, right? So last time I done a refeed, tail end of last week, I actually dropped weight. I dropped 0.4 of a kilo. But this time, you know, I've came up in weight. And again, that may be due to a combination of factors. The fact that you eat more carbs generally means you are going to wake up heavier the next day, because like 1 gram of carb holds 3 grams of water. Obviously I upped my water. I ended up having about 5 litres yesterday, and I also used some electrolytes in the evening as well, which I don't know if that was a good move or not, to be honest. It was something I just wanted to kind of mess around with. I took some photos this morning though, and to be fair, I like being totally blunt and being honest with you guys, I think my physique does look a little bit cloudier, but then I had a big day yesterday. Like that was the highest I've pushed carbs yet when I've been trialing my refeeds. So I'm interested to see how it pans out over the next few days, and I'll be keeping tabs on my progress over the next few days anyway. So what I'll do is I will do a little update, because I won't be editing this until like a couple of days time anyway. So I'll do a little update letting you guys know how the next couple of days go. But my plan is to go back to a fairly kind of normal-ish day of dieting for me today. So I was going to run like maybe around 400 grams of carbs today, but then the fact that I kind of took those photos this morning, I'd seen that I'd kind of, like, for lack of a better term, spilled over a little bit. You know, like, so to give you context, when I done pictures yesterday, I thought I was leaner yesterday, but flatter, and today I'm fuller, but like a little bit like kind of less definition. So I'm hoping with a normal day today, which for me is around about 2,200 calories. I have been lower, but we're going in about 2,200 calories. 194 grams of protein, 21 grams of fat, 306 grams of carbs. Why do I know that? Because it's all planned out already. If you're a client watching this, take note. But that's what I'm going in with today. So then it'll be interesting to see how it look tomorrow after a day of normal eating. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And again, this is all part of my kind of trialing out a sort of mini peak sort of thing. So 500 grams of carbs yesterday, 300 tomorrow, and then again Saturday we may do slightly less again, depending on how the look is when I wake up tomorrow as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, did I just say tomorrow for the 400 grams of carbs, 300 grams of carbs? Sorry, that's today. Yesterday was the 500 grams. Anyway, right, we'll see how that goes. So I'll give you guys a little update on that as well. But yeah, that is a refeed day over and done with. It's sad because it just makes you more hungry. It makes you want to eat more food the next day. But we have only got just over a week left. In fact, 8 days left of this photoshoot prep anyway. So we are just trying to get the fine details right here. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be doing an update on how the shoot goes next week, how the peak for the shoot goes, and all the other stuff that comes with it. So make sure you keep an eye on the channel because there's lots more updates to come.